Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make my chocolate chip cookies recipe. First we're going to start by making our brown butter. Put 1 stick of butter on a pot over medium heat and let it melt. Okay, so after the butter has melted, we're going to continue to heat the butter until the butter has become brown. So as you can see, there's some white bubbles on the top, and that's just the fat separating from the butter. Keep heating until you see the brown specks. So the purpose of the brown butter is to make a more richer cookie. This will actually enhance the flavor of the cookie. So as you can see, I'm stirring the pot while the butter is melting. And as you can see, the brown specks at the bottom will get more and more darker, and this is something you want to keep an eye out for so you don't burn it. So what you're looking for is that deep amber color. It kind of looks like the color of a penny. Alright, so this is the color we're looking for, so we're going to take the butter off the heat and let it cool. So the purpose of cooling the butter is to make sure that when we add our eggs to the butter, the eggs doesn't cook and doesn't scramble, because we don't want scrambled eggs in our cookie. While the butter is cooling, we can actually measure out our dry ingredients. So I'm going to take a scoop of flour and I'm going to tap the bottom a little bit and then take a knife and swipe the top so that it's nice and flat. We measure out the flour this way so that we can get a more accurate measurement. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add 1.5 cups of flour to our bowl. Alright, so in the previous clip I also added in 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and now we're also going to add in 1 teaspoon of cornstarch. So the cornstarch is actually going to give a more doughier cookie, and I like my cookies more on the thicker side, so you don't have to add it in, but this is what the purpose of the cornstarch is. Alright, so after measuring out all of our ingredients, we are actually going to take a whisk and whisk them together, and this will act as like sifting the dry ingredients because we don't want chunks of flour in our cookie dough. Alright, so after the butter has cooled down to room temperature, I'm going to transfer the butter to another bowl. And then to the butter, I'm going to add 1/3 cup of white sugar and then 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Alright, so after the butter, the brown sugar, and the white sugar has been added to the bowl, I'm going to start to mix them together. And we're going to continue mixing until the batter has like a sandy texture. We also want to scrape down the bowl every once in a while to make sure everything is mixed thoroughly. Alright, and then to this mixture, we're going to add in 1 egg. After we crack in the egg, we're going to mix the egg on low speed so that we don't add in air to the batter. Alright, so after the egg is fully mixed in, I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of molasses, and this will also add to the flavor of the cookie. It'll make it a more homier cookie. And then I'm also going to add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla as well. Alright, so after the molasses and the vanilla has been added in, I'm going to mix these ingredients on low speed until combined. Alright, so after the egg mixture is fully combined, we are going to add in our dry ingredients from earlier. So that'll be our flour, baking soda, and cornstarch. And so here I'm going to add in the flour in small batches at a time. I do about 3 batches. And this is just to make sure that everything is mixed in thoroughly. Before adding in my final batch of flour, I actually like to add in my chocolate chips with the flour too. So I'm going to add in 2/3 cup of chocolate chips here. You're welcome to add in more or less depending on how much chocolate you like in your cookie. And the reason that I do this is because I noticed that when I add in the chocolate chips after the final batch of flour, I noticed that the cookie became a lot more tougher. And so I found out that by doing it this way, the cookie will be a little bit more denser and chewier. Also, as you're adding in the flour, don't forget to take a spatula and scrape down the sides of the bowl every once in a while to ensure that all of the flour is being mixed into the dough. Alright, so after the dough is thoroughly mixed through, we are actually going to set the bowl in the fridge to chill for about an hour. And this is to make sure that all the flavors come together and just let the dough rest, so that we can get a more flavorful cookie this way. Alright, so after the dough is done chilling in the fridge for about an hour, we are going to take it out, and now we are going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees, and we are going to line a cookie sheet with parchment paper. And so for the size of the cookie, what I like to do is I like to take about maybe a golf-sized ball of dough, and then I'm going to place them on the cookie sheet. I like to place about 8 cookies on a cookie sheet. I like to do 3 on top, 2 in the middle, and then 3 on the bottom. Alright, so what I've seen in like typical cookie dough recipes is that they put salt with their dry ingredients and then they mix it into their dough. But what I like to do is I actually like to sprinkle salt on top of the cookies. So what I'm going to do is I'm about to put a pinch of salt on each ball of dough. And I kind of like this better because when you eat the cookie, the salt hits your mouth immediately, but it kind of mixes with the cookie. So it's like almost like a sweet and salty type mix, and that's what my family really enjoys. Obviously, you don't need to put the salt on top if you don't want to. You could have mixed it in the earlier step when we were mixing the dry ingredients together. Okay, so after you're done putting salt on your cookie dough, or not, it's up to you. I'm going to put the cookie dough in the oven for about 8 minutes. Alright, so after the cookies are done baking, we're going to take them out of the oven, and I'm going to transfer them to a cookie sheet so that way they can cool faster. And then when the cookies are cooled, you are ready to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching.